Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2. This is Ralph Edward Hayes Jr. coming to you live on the internet for my irregular online broadcast, Spleen Squeezins. Hello again, everybody. I don't know who would be tuning in at this hour. Why I'm online? Because I didn't go online earlier today, and I'm awake in the middle of the night, and I've got nothing better to do. So there's your answer. Okay, let's see here. Let's switch over to the... I'm going to go ahead and boot the plain on window because it's so shiny and pretty. Yes. And it is also large. And it's something to look at besides my ugly mug. Oh, crud, it's in 3D mode. Ugh. Oh, headache. Oh, blinding. I think I'll turn it off and turn it back on. Okay. For an update for y'all, to begin with, yeah, I had kind of a rough week this week. My monitor basically burned out like a light bulb, basically, and I had to wait until I tried to work with my laptop. Live streaming with my laptop, no. It's just not up to snuff for that sort of thing. Okay, I've decided this just is working here. I'll just. There we go. Random art playlist. I gotta get more art. I gotta. No, let's see here. Get some more. Add media files. Let's see here. What do we got? Have we got anything new to add? Where? Look, folks, it's me. Okay, as I was saying before, it's I had to do something I really didn't want to do. Oh well, it doesn't matter. It's as I was stating before. Have uh, I managed to send a partial payment to what it is the reason I was able to buy a new monitor is because I had a small unexpected windfall from my uh, uh, ads. I have ads through projectwonderful.com. I highly recommend projectwonderful.com. They have a very interesting setup for setting up advertising on your website. you can set up spaces on your website that people will bid on, and the highest bidder is the one that currently runs. You can all sorts of setups, content and themes and so on, topics and ad sizes, so on and so forth. And you can set a minimum bid. Most of my ads are like 1 cent. Most of the ad spaces on my webpage are, I believe, 1 cent. So that's how much they bid for a day. So it's not raking in huge bucks, but people, somebody comes along and says, I want to run my ad there, and they bid 2 cents, and their ad runs there until somebody else outbids them. And you can run your own ads. You can run bid campaigns, automated bids, so that your ads go out on other people's websites. And you can you can either milk this thing for money, or you can use the money to run ads of your own stuff. Just check it out. Check it out. ProjectWonderful.com. I recommend it highly for anybody that is trying to scrape a few extra pennies together. Now, since updating my website, I have a lot fewer. Actual ads, individual ads. I have to go back in. I have to take the time and figure out how to make each of my web pages have different ads. So, right now, a person who bids on an ad on one page is getting them on all of them, and that doesn't quite work for me, if somebody's running an ad on Tales of the Questor, I don't want them to get freebies on all the other websites. So I have to figure out how to fix that. That's my problem. That's my issue. But anyway, ProjectWonderful.com, all one word. Highly recommended. Now, the other ad thingy I have is through Google Ads. And Google Ads, yeah. It's, what it is that it accumulates, it's just more straightforward. They pay me for however many clicks. And it accumulates slowly. And they send me, they send me a payment whenever I hit $100. It's monthly or so. Anyway, I hit about $120 in the past month, apparently, past couple of months, and they sent me a payment just in time for me to buy a new monitor to replace the one that burned out the other day. So, yay. Okay. Now, I have not been very productive lately. I've not, this is one of the things that's killing me slowly. I'm starting to realize I'm old, and I was never no gung ho guy even when I was a kid. But I didn't, most there are a lot there are people out there I know that are like 40, 50, 60, 80, and they just tearing up the pea patch. Dan Meyer, for example, he's in his 40s and he has a loving wife. And this guy is like, if you told me about him as a fictional character, I would say no way, man, too unbelievable. I'm not joking here. This guy, Daniel Meyer, he happens to be the guy who handles my websites, and he fixed up we were having problems with the forums on the website, and he fixed them up. So, 3 cheers and a camel, yay! And now, stuff to work on. Stuff to work on. Let's see, what have I got to work on here? Okay, I've got one from Max Goof. Okay, I'm gonna open them all up and have them waiting in line here. It's open, and one for um. Let's see, commissions, memes for show, commissions, and old Victorian. I've got two in line for old Vic. I hate mechanically complex drawings. I really do. Okay. Okay. For Max Goose Commission, I've only got this really crude sketch at the moment. I'm going to have to look up his description. Get more information. Finish this up. One thing at a time, one thing at a time, one thing at a time. Okay. I hope somebody's out there. I really do. Because, it's Ronry here in the dark. It's so Ronry. So Ronry. Okay, for those who are listening, let me just restate. Um, I am always taking commissions. If you go to my website www.rhjunior.com, there are links up across the top for purchasing stuff like my books, for ordering commissions, uh, so on and so forth. I also am trying to get a drive. I'm trying to update more often so that I have more readers, so that I get more Patreon patrons. Patreon.com. It's a system for people who want to support the arts, or want to support their favorite writers and artists and cartoonists and so on, and musicians, and, well, all sorts of things. Just go out there and look at patreon.com. Now, I currently have 67 patrons. 67 patrons with a variety of donation levels. They make a pledge, like $5, $5, $10, whatever, every month, and it's automated. So I pledge $5 a month. Here's and it, every month they announce it. Oh, thank you for your donation, and I have it comes to $2.90 per month. Well, before Patreon extracts its fee, so it's about $2.75 a month. And my goal, I want, this may sound outrageous. I want to get enough readers that I have 1,000 patrons, patron. Happy fee, I'll spit it out in a day or two. Uh, I want to. I want. My goal is to get as many Patreon patrons as possible. If my estimate, if I could get 1,000, I literally get tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of readers browsing my website daily. Well, tens of thousands daily, hundreds of thousands monthly, and these are actual visits, not just clicks. So, um, if I can get if I could get just if I could get just 1,000 people to make a $1 pledge a month, that would put me completely in the black. I wouldn't, that's so that's the minimum goal here. Of course, I would like to have, and anybody would like to have more people reading and donating and so on and so forth. But towards those ends, I'm going to try and start, I'm trying to update more often. And I'm just going to have to buckle down. That's all there's to it. Right now, though, I am in a very tight financial spot. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. I just had to dip into some reserves that I could not dip into. I'm going to have to reimburse that, and my electric bill in particular. Uh, with the summer heat and everything else is eating me alive. I need at least I need to raise at least $300. I've already sent them just about every dime I've got. I have to raise 300 more just to keep them from disconnecting the power on the 25th. And that isn't, that doesn't even touch, other expenses and everything that are climbing up my rear end too. So yeah, I too broke to be proud here. I'm begging you, if you can spare just a buck, toss it in the kitty. I've got a Patreon link on my front page, RHJunior.com. I've also got a PayPal button if you want to, just make a one-time donation. And you're like, you look at the Patreon thing. I'm not ready for that kind of commitment. But if you just want to, toss a fiver in or something, that would be very nice. That would be very, very nice indeed. Yay. Okay, I'm doing this. Let's see here. What else do I have? Nip and tuck. Rum tum tiddly dum bum tiddly bum tiddly bum tiddly bum tum tum. I can't remember what I was about to. Oh yeah. and unga bunga. Anyway, I think sloth has been my worst. I think, yeah, I think everybody has at least one particular evil, one particular vice, one particular sin that dogs them all their life. I probably have a collection. For me, the biggest one is probably sloth. Okay, I'm just checking for some. Okay, it looks like I'm all alone here tonight at the moment. It's interesting trying to draw an otter and you suddenly realize that their feet are actually flippers. Let me take a minute and talk about a particular meme. It's called Writer on Board. If you don't know what Writer on Board is, it's where the writers use the book or the movie or the comic or whatever for a message, political, social, religious, whatever. And in case you haven't figured it out, guilty. They soapboxing. It's basically what everybody accuses me of. And it's not like I can deny it. But let's face it, the probability bomb, it is a huge one. And I can't deny it for a minute. And people are reading it. A lot of I got several people whining about it. Quite frankly, about how the characters all soapboxing all the time and pushing out their creationist issues. But I contend, and I still contend, and I found and I still contend that if I were preaching any other sermon, most of these whiners not only would not complain, they would not even notice. And yes, I'm being mean and calling them whiners. When somebody goes out of their way to tell you, I really don't feel like donating to your, writes out a nice long email about how they really don't want to donate to my website because I spend all my time sermonizing and wasting my time on this probability bomb project. That's kind of pushing it, just a little bit. Thank you for your opinion. Sarcasm, sarcasm. Thank you for your opinion about how I should shut up about mine. Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, yeah, I do. I sermonize. I grandstand. I soapbox. And my comics and my books and my everything else are an outlet for my ideology. I'm even on the webpage. I'm on the webpage. Okay, let's go here. It's Writer on Board, tvtropes.org. Writer on Board. I listed down here under let's see here, fan fictions, fan works. You'd be surprised at how many of this. Ralph Hayes Jr., alias Reality Check, does this in some of his My Little Pony Friendship is Magic fanfics. Bullying is one of his biggest berserk buttons and what he believes to be the series' poor handling of the issue is brought up in Parting Words and The Great Alicorn Hunt, while Nightmare Night and Nyx has a scene where Rainbow Dash's date goes into an author filibuster that berates her for treating being feminine like it was some sort of disease, behavior she has unwittingly passed on to Scootaloo, due to the author's belief that pop culture is hostile to traditional feminine behavior. I challenge you to prove me wrong on that, by the way. The typical portrayal of a loving housewife, stay-at-home mom. Remember when stay-at-home mom was a redundancy? Remember when mom pretty much summed it up? Women out there are constantly snubbed for being. Well, let's not get off on a rabbit trail here. Yeah, I'm right there on the page, but it's interesting that I'm not being railroaded for the probability bomb. You know, I mean, I'm deliberately stirring the stick with that one. But now let's look at this. I mean, this page lists dozens, hundreds of examples in anime and manga, comic books, movies, TV shows, and there's a dozen at least in just in the fan fiction section. And it's very enlightening. It's very enlightening. Okay, let's take this into example. Now, this is some very enlightening stuff. This is where you find out why that thing you love, that movie or TV show or franchise you love, was screwed up. Now, you've heard me harp about Joe Quesada and what he did to Spider-Man and Mary Jane. Now, listen to this. Quote, speaking of Quesada, a number of readers suspect he dislikes the institution of marriage in general, and married women in particular, pointing out both the number of prominent married Marvel women he's killed off, such as Henry Pym's wife, and Jean Grey, or put on a bus like Mary Jane Watson during his tenure in the EIC's chair, and the fact that his ex-wife was said to have treated him terribly during their marriage. Oh, my. I wonder if that might have affected his stance on Mary Jane. Suddenly, any male character became more interesting without his wife or longtime love interest. And said love interest often gets a date with a bus, or worse, a bridge, even if, like Jean Grey or Mary Jane Watson or Janet, said love interest has years of history as much more than just male character's ex-lover. Isn't that enlightening? Maybe you should have just chomped a Prozac and gotten over it. Yeah, well, you just go down the list. I mean, uh, these are people who are honest enough to admit, oh yeah, these laureled writers and authors, they got a soapbox a mile high. If I was writing any of the crap these people have produced, if I had a soapbox on any of these topics, Frank Miller's, if I was like Frank Miller and had issue, with women all being prostitutes, or Garth S., who hates superheroes and yet writes superhero comics. If I was one of these idiots that use comics as an outlet for their vegetarian or anti-gun views, or any of the, this is a mile-long page of people with an axe to grind. If I was writing a book or a comic about any, that incorporated any of these creeds, nobody would say a word. Nobody would notice. But because if I was writing a sci-fi story that, like nearly all the others, just praises the shit out of Darwin, if my sci-fi story had everybody running around talking about, you know Darwinian evolution, natural selection, and survival of the fittest, and this is proven science, talking about evolutionary theory like it was irrefutable, uh, the sun, the consensus is in, kind of thing. Uh, I could write a huge story about, I could write the comic about global warming, and people would just gobble it up. Nobody would say a word about the soapbox I was standing on in that case. But because I write a story that pokes, you know, you know, because I write a story that pokes at one of their sacred cows with a fork, it's off to the races, with chatter about how you're just using this for a soapbox. Anyway, just sort of flies up my nose, don't you know? Don't let anybody tell you you're up on a soapbox. If you believe something, if you hold something to be true, if you hold something to be important, Stand up for it. My issue isn't with people getting up on a soapbox. My issue is people getting up on a soapbox with things that are absolute bullcrap. We need people up on soapboxes. The soapbox, the jury box, the ballot box, the ammo box. Those are the 4 boxes that you crack open when you have to change your nation. I believe the order is the soapbox, the ballot box, the jury box, the ammo box. Use in that order and with increasing sparingness. Now, I gripe about feminists up on their sucks because feminism is a load of crap. I gripe about environmentalists with their climate change and their ridiculous endangered species claims and all, and because I complain about them getting up on a soapbox, because getting up on a soapbox, getting in my face with a lie. I complain about evolutionists because they don't even need a soapbox anymore. They're the back when they reach the point where they're background noise. The evolutionary screed is it's pumped so constantly. It's like elevator music. You don't even notice it anymore. You don't even notice when the most ridiculous, unscientific drabble is passed off as a given. It's not even discussed. If it's mentioned in passing with less interest and less objective analysis than you would give to an announcement of the weather. And this is it's accepted as let's be honest. Let's examine it. It's the theory of evolution is a little over a century and a half old. Darwinism, anyway. There have been variations on the theory of evolution since the dawn of time. There have been men who believe that the world just popped into existence out of nothing of its own accord since the beginnings. No gods necessary. It just happened. And people have been debating since the dawn of time on, was it just made? Was it made, or did it just happen? It was with the rise of Darwin that the belief in spontaneous generation, abiogenesis, achieved the mantle of scientific objectivity. This great scam, he go on an island cruise, stare at some birds and turtles, write a just so story, come back and publish it. Science. All of evolutionary theory consists of looking at the evidence and trying to imagine how it got that way. There is no experimentation involved. It's not a scientific process. It's a creative writing project. pardon. But I've harped on that too. Now, but people have believed it for so long, and basically sermonized it into every school class. And every topic and every subject is it's given as an assumed. And they it's just like every other theory that had its heyday. Phlogiston, ether, the flat Earth belief, the geocentric model of the planet. And yes, it was the scholars that pushed the geocentric model. They don't mention that. Um, the anatomical text before Vesalius. Uh, uh, certain beliefs became dogma in the intellectual community. And that dogma was preached so extensive, would be preached so extensively and so continually that eventually it took on the air of, proven, true, absolute. Even if the belief in question, even if the theory in question had never actually been tested or was even untestable by nature. Evolutionary theory is a standard example of a non-falsifiable hypothesis. And they are very, very foolish to think that the dewy-eyed faithful are going to believe in them forever. There is not the first popular theory to come along and eventually end up going to the wayside. But here and now, it's to them it's unthinkable. It's unthinkable to them as if you suggested that tomorrow they're not going to believe gravity is going to cease to exist. It's just not in their mental vocabulary. And yeah, I've harped on this too. I've got certain topics that I keep looping back to. A lot of there are tons of reviews out for Ghostbusters 2016, and a lot of the people, the first disclaimer they make, it's not because they're all women. It's not because they use an all women cast. I think it would be more fair to say, let's be honest, it's not just that it's an all women cast, because this is an issue. This is an issue. They rebooted. They tried to reboot the franchise using an all woman cast, and right from the beginning, they complain about soapbox. Writer on board. And it was obvious from the trailers, from the promos, from the ads, that they were doing this deliberately. Girl power. Girl power is another crap philosophy, right up there with feminism. It's just another, another chunk of feminism being shoved in people's faces. And they tried to sell this substandard movie by, pumping the whole girl power issue with ads and promotional pictures and everything else, and it was a no sale. Because they haven't figured, like most feminists, they haven't figured out that the men in the room are getting damn tired of their shit. Let's call it what it is. They are tired of these women's shit. Bitch, 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 bitch. And and trying to make all sorts of claims all you want, but admit it, honest. You saw those as now with an all-women cast, and you looked at it and you went, ah, crap, I can't even go to the movies without these feminists bitching at me. And then you saw the trailer and saw that it sucked, too. On top of it, on top of the fact that with the usual feminist subtlety of slapping somebody in the face with a dead trout. Look at our girl power! Slap, slap, slap. Let's put it this way. Picture it if they had decided to do an all black cast and tried to make a big fuss about that. No, with an all black cast. Yeah. Everybody would have given them even the advocate, even the race advocates would have given them the finger and turned their backs on, because even the people that support these do not like being pandered to. People do not like being, they go to the movies, they, and these people have not figured out yet that the average citizen is sick of being lectured on women's rights and equality, women's equality, and women can do everything a man can do, so why don't they? Because they know it's bullshit. We've had 50 plus years of women's lip in this society. And guess what? Women are still the same as they were 50 years ago. Still the same as they were 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. Namely, they're not men. And no, women cannot do everything that a man can. And by quite frankly, a man can't do everything a woman can. And both men and women are going to do the same thing in different ways. But their only solution to all their personal issues is to try and pretend that women and men, there's no difference between them. And when reality comes up and bitch slaps them in the face, they get mad at, you guessed it, the men in the room. The entire purpose of feminism is to give women a way to blame men for everything wrong in their lives, up to and including the bad weather on their birthday. How many times we've had women, all these women that have tried to force their way into men's institutions, the police department, the military, West Point, and they cannot hack it. They cannot do the job as well as the men can. And we are forced to make all sorts of allowances so that they can pretend that they can. The standards for the police have to be lowered. The standards for the military have to be lowered. The standards for everything under the sun have to be lowered until we get more women into them. Even if the women aren't really interested. It's the killer. The women aren't interested in some of these things. But the feminists are out there preaching. You don't see too many of these feminists fighting for equal representation in coal mining jobs, do you? You don't see them fighting for jobs working in the sewers. No. They want they only want what they think represents privilege, an elite status, or free handouts. If we wanted women to get into these fields, all we'd have to do is actually go out and post signs and say no women allowed. And some of these dumb bimbos we could post you could post a no women allowed sign over an opening to a septic tank, and these women would be lined up, ready to do a dive in head first. You can't tell me what to do. They started out right from the very beginning marketing this movie. Those that have seen it really have said, it's really not. I haven't seen it yet. I'm not going to. I might pick up I'll pick up a DVD out of the $1 bin next week. They said it sucks. They said it's just not funny. And for a comedy, it's supposed to be a comedy. It's not funny. The special effects, really aren't cutting edge. I can't say. I mean, I remember the special effects from the original movie, and those things, seriously dated. But today they could do so much better, and they didn't. And why is it that their idea of representing women is they always have to pick, uh, plain, they pick women that look like men. Now look at these, look at that cast. You got two horse-faced women, one little round, bespectacled butterball, and a big old Moesha, large Marge Moesha. That's what you got. Girl power. See, because being attractive, is it's the patriarchy. Of course, it doesn't stop them from putting a dim bulb beefcake as their secretary. Can you smell the hypocrisy? I'm sorry. In the original movie, their secretary, she wasn't, a dim bulb blondie with big hooters. She was, a plain Jane. She was, she was a snarker. She was, uh, she was, I've quit better jobs than this kind of woman. And in both movies, Janine, she was, she fit in with the rest of them. Her character was minor, but there you had it. She was obviously not hired to be eye candy by the Ghostbusters. And they wonder why. They wonder why people rejected it outright. I'll tell you why. Because they looked at it and people knew, uh, this was all they had. They put this thing on, and the first thing they all started talking about. This is the first thing that Sony started talking about with an all-women cast. You want to prove that you want to prove that you're about equality. The fact that it's an all-woman cast shouldn't even been mentioned by anybody from Sony. They should have been just, yeah, we just picked, you know, So yes, it was an issue. The fact it was an all female cast was an issue, or rather, the fact that they tried, the fact that right from the beginning they tried to make the fact that it was an all woman cast a selling point. Oh, so you got four women to play the roles. What do you want, a cookie? They expected us to. They expected all of us to fall all over ourselves, patting them on the backs and congratulating them for being so progressive and enlightened. You know, good work, guys. Good work on catching up to the 1970s. This is what happens when they make a social issue movie. They tried to they tried to score more ticket sales with a social issue. And as always, they're like 20 to 30 to 40, at least they're always at least 20 years behind the times. They're going to beat the race issue to death until the year 2060. I'm sorry, 1969 was a while ago, guys. Get over yourselves. They're going to heroically address the issue of women in the workplace. Remember 9 to 5? The movie? That was another 80s movie. Hello! Women had been in the workplace since the 1950s. So Sony needs to learn something. So every other movie company, every one of these media outlets, they need to learn something. They need to learn it hard and fast. Uh, Cyberbullying your audience is not going to put butts in seats. In fact, it's guaranteed to do the exact opposite. That's what they were doing. They were cyberbullying. They mocked anybody that did not. They mocked millions of people as being worthless nobodies who dwelled in their mommy's basement. And had to haul the garbage out so they could earn their chicken tendies. And as one reviewer pointed out, and one critic pointed out, they haven't figured out. They once again they are behind the times. They are behind the curve. They haven't figured out yet that the people on the internet, the people on the internet are not living altogether on some island someplace. They're not all living on a space station. Okay, the same, the same people that they are trying to woo into their theaters are the ones who are on the internet. There is no internet population and regular population. Everybody uses the internet now. That mom and pop, that little nuclear family downtown you're trying to get to come to your theater on a weekend. Hello. They're the ones posting the nut busting reviews of your crappy movie on their Facebook. That YouTube reviewer that you insulted on your television interview as being a faceless little fat nobody. Those are the same people who stand in line to buy tickets. I'm really mad. I found out, do you know that the Rotten Tomatoes has been fudging its scores, particularly for this movie. 50%. If when they started out, they had 58%. 58%. That was listed as a good review. They fudged it. They deliberately altered the graphics to make it look like the movie had a better rating than it actually did. And you're like, holy crap, what they won't stoop to. I mean, they've done everything you can imagine. They sent out bots on the web to erase bad reviews. They altered the count. They tampered with the counter on the YouTube videos so that they couldn't go all the way up to 1 million. They kept rebounding back down to like 940,000. Are you starting to get the picture here? I hope this costs somebody their job. I really do. Somebody who's going to go that far I hope that that director never gets a new job because he flat out insulted everybody who, you know, they ought to be looking. They ought to be looking at that idiot and going, "Why the hell should we ever hire you to do anything ever again? Considering you torpedoed us with the audience." Unbelievable arrogance. I have harped on this, and I've talked about this topic over and over and over again in these episodes. I really need to get something new to talk about. I wish something new would happen. The newest Star Trek movie is out, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm all at Twitter. I'm just not interested. It's just not floating my boat. It's not doing nothing for me. It's just not exciting me. And I'm not really interested in the secret lives of pets. Because it looks what it is, a B standard attempt to compete with Pixar. Of course, they got that one movie coming out, Sausage Party. Whoever came up with it, some people just, what the hell? There are just so many people who think that they have the right to take a crap right in the middle of town square. I'm put to mind of a village idiot who's a 2-year-old child who's still being potty trained takes a tremendous dump and then stands up and claps his hand. Oh look at what I made. They're immensely proud of the fact that they're grotesque and appalling. It is just the way Ghostbusters 2016 has been caused basically an hour and a half Saturday Night Live skit that does it's forgotten how to be funny. And I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at this the trailers for this sausage party movie, animated cartoon movie, and I'm thinking Robot Chicken 30 seconds. Bunch of juvenile adolescent wankers who never grew up or sobered up after leaving college. Sometimes I think that the first thing that they ought to get when they leave college is a violent beating. Yeah, just a bunch of people going, "You can't make me behave." Nya 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 nya. Let's see here. We got Jonathan. No, we got. Well, we got. Let's see here. We got Beach Bears. I'm a gummy bear. I'm a gummy bear. We got Archangel. We got Bobby Thornbody. And Bobby Thornbody, I'm going to say hello. And Beach Bear, hello. How the heck are you? Uh, I've got moderate. For those who just hopped in, I'll say, some good news, some bad news, some sort of news. Okay. First off, I was offline for a couple of. I was basically sidelined for a day or two. My monitor burned out. Fortunately, I had some dividends from my just had a little windfall from my ad uh, ad finance. Those little webpage ads, uh, and I had enough to go out and buy myself a new monitor. Yay! So here I am with my new little shiny monitor back online. I have a laptop and I also have a tablet, but they haven't got the juice, the oomph to handle it. Plus, I still have to train. It's shuffling the data back and forth between the computers. Uh, I've got to really got to learn one of those systems for transferring stuff between computers. At that learn the stuff between the computers. You get my point. I hate having to draw lots of vehicles. I really do. I'm bad at it. It's terrible, actually. This is why I did an overview. I thought it'd be easier. Let's see here. Anyway, I have had to dip into uh, some financial reserves that I had set aside. Uh, I've not solved anything. I've only postponed the inevitable. Uh, I sent off. The money the money was set aside for something else very important. I could not. But it was either that, either spend that or run the risk of going offline because I have like 2 or 3 days to raise. I managed. I sent them a huge payment, but I'm going to have to send them at least. If I'm reading the notification correctly, I'm going to have to send them at least $300 more to keep from being disconnected, and that's liable to happen within the next couple of days. So yeah, I'm taking yes, I am taking commissions, and yes, I'm also taking donations and pledges and anything else because yeah, doo doo creek, you know. And again, I'm running against the inevitable. My goal, I'm trying to update more frequently. This is why this is why I'm on here late at night because I'm sitting. I realize, hey, I'm sitting here. I'm awake. I might as well be trying to be productive. Like I said, I'm terrible at drawing vehicles. Uh, so you can see what I'm doing. Stupid thing. Hmm. Shrink this down a little bit. Now, uh, now it has been said by a lot of people that, like I was saying earlier, that I soapbox. I use my, writer on board. That I use my stories, my and my books and my comics, and I get on political issues, and everybody's, oh, he's getting on political issues, and they start griping and complaining about the comic or the story or what have you. Now I contend to this day, and I will to my dying day, that they care a lot. If yeah, I grandstand, I soapbox. And don't apologize for getting on a soapbox, because that's what they're there for. If you believe something and you consider it to be important, that's why God gave you a voice. Now, I hate soapboxing, but what I hate about soapboxing, I don't, I hate soapboxing when a person is soapboxing and getting up in my face with a load of bullcrap. If you get up on your soapbox about veganism or global warming or the like, or something equally stupid, I'm going to get honked about it. But I submit to you. I submit this to you. And if I was to get up on the soapbox for any of those type of global warming or gun control or any of the nobody would notice. Nobody would notice. Nobody. Why? Because they've grown. Because uh, most of this political BS I'm talking about, the people that normally complain, they've grown up marinated in it. Liberalism, you're soaking in it. Telling them that they come from a leftist biased culture is like telling a fish about water. They're so immersed in it, they are oblivious to it. And you have to move uh, country and kingdom to get people to step back and realize their biases. You have to grab them by the head and force them to face their cognitive dissonance. And that is like pulling teeth, as I am sure you darn well know. But the instant, is leftist ideals and ideology, background noise to them. They don't even notice it. It's like they've grown up their entire lives with their food being seasoned with it, and they don't even notice the taste anymore. They can spend their whole life watching a TV show, for instance, that mocks conservatism or Christianity or gun owners or environmental skeptics or or any number of things, and not even notice. But just change the topic and suddenly they become hyper aware. Looky loo at that. Of course, I harp about that a lot. A lot. Yes. It just bugs me. Now I don't know how many of you were here, uh, uh, but there is a web page on tvtropes.org called Writer on Board, and it's basically it is a arm's length list of various writers and artists with an axe to grind. And it is very enlightening because it reveals a lot. For instance, uh, I've harped a lot about Joe Quesada and how he ruined Spider-Man. Basically, he forced the writers to literally write Mary Jane out of existence in the comic. Despite the fact that Mary Jane Watson Parker has been Spider-Man's wife for longer than some of these guys have been alive. Joe Quesada hated on her, and this is very enlightening. Joe Quesada, according to this quote, I'm reading this again. Yes, I'm repeating myself. It's going to happen a lot. I do that a lot on this show. Speaking of Quesada, a number of readers suspect he dislikes the institution of marriage in general and married women in particular. Point out both the number of prominent married Marvel women killed off, such as Janet Van Dyne, married to Hank Pym, and Jean Grey, or put on a bus, such as Mary Jane Watson Parker. During his tenure in the EIC's chair, and the fact that his ex-wife was said to have treated him terribly during their marriage. Suddenly, any male character is, quote, more interesting without his wife or longtime love interest, and said love interest often gets a date with a bus or worse, a bridge. Even if, like the aforementioned Jean and Janet and Mary Jane, said love interest has years of history as much more than just male character X's lover. So basically, the big man child is a divorcee, too. Isn't that enlightening? And of course, there's Garth Ennis, who flat out hates superheroes, even though the damn thing, even though writing for them has made him a made him rich. His favorite hobby is destroying other people's characters. You'd think this would be obvious. Don't give the job to somebody who hates it. I mean, the guy is. Can you tell you just an ungrateful little shit? It was comic books and superhero fans who made him such a huge name in comics. But because he isn't out there doing I don't know what, I don't know, a comic book, a graphic novel version of King Lear or something. He takes. You can't put a pen in his hand before he isn't raping somebody's character to death with it. He hates comic books, he hates superheroes, and he thinks that their fans are all losers. The kind of person you want to put in a bathtub and give a quick lesson in juggling hair dryers. Should have done that in the first place. Still learning to use them tools. Zippity, 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 doo-dah. I have no idea what that's supposed to look like. I know what that's supposed to look like. It's supposed to... Personal, Chris, if you make a commission, try and limit the amount of machinery and such that's in it, for both our sakes. Coincidentally, that page I mentioned, stuff in my eye. Oh, darn it, that's stupid music scroller. The page Writer on Board, I'm on there. I'm listed way down here in fan fictions. Quote, Ralph Hayes, I read this earlier. I'm reading it again for those who missed it. Ralph Hayes Jr., alias Realities Check, does this in some of his My Little Pony Friendship is Magic fanfics. Bullying is one of his biggest berserk buttons, and what he believes to be the series' poor handling of the issue is brought up in Parting Words and in The Great Alicorn Hunt. While Nightmare Nix has a scene where Rainbow Dash's date goes into an author filibuster that berates her for treating being feminine like it was some sort of disease. Quote. End quote. And it being a behavior she has unwittingly passed on to Scootaloo due to the author's belief that pop culture is hostile to traditional feminine behavior. And yes, it is. Pop culture and feminist culture, particularly, let's be honest. Let's be straightforward. Let's be blunt about it. Feminist culture is hostile towards traditional feminine behavior. So much so that it's background. Again, this is another case of background noise. I've heard so many housewives and mothers. You know, they've got a 2-year-old in the house, and their friends are going, so when are you going to go back to work? If you're out, ladies, if you're out there, ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there, never say this to a housewife or to a mother, because you're just adding to her stress, because on top of all the other things she has to do, taking care of that child and keeping up that home, now she has to fight to resist the urge to rip your Adam's apple out through your mouth. uh, Being a housewife, being a redundancy alert, a stay-at-home mom, is not regarded as work in our society anymore. In fact, it's regarded as shirking. Uh, those girls who, but and girls are constantly being pushed into traditionally male fields by their counselors and such, and just the general, what used to be normal is treated with hostility. And look, and I'll be straight up. Speaking specifically about the show, about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Rainbow Dash is a tomboy. There's not a thing wrong with that at all. Kudos, thumbs up, cheers. But my issue is that she is, this is part of the reason that, let's be honest, this is part of the reason that every fanboy pervert fantasizes that she's actually a lesbian, is because she shows aversion to anything remotely feminine. In the show. And you can't tell me that wouldn't piss off anybody, any guy that was trying to date her. She it's canonical. She reacts like anything, uh, you know, dressing up, dating, just taking an interest in anything feminine. She acts like it's toxic, and that she doesn't want to be perceived as wimpy and weak, and you can't tell me that that is it's to the point it's pathological. So come on here, come on, work with me here. Okay, is there anybody? We got two people in the audience. Would y'all just speak up once in a while, say something, type something, let me know you're still here, let me know you're still listening. I'd hate to think. Look. When I start talking, and talking and talking and talking, and I start getting on a topic, and none of you all say anything in response for like half an hour, you know what that feels like? Imagine you walk into a room. You're in a room full of people. Everybody's talking and everybody's chatting, and everybody's getting along, and you start talking, and you get on top, and you're just chatting along, and then you look up, you look around, and you realize that everybody is staring at you. With this blank look on their faces, like you just farted in church. That's what it feels like when I start talking, and you all don't say anything. You don't respond. You don't react. You don't interact. I tried to have a phone in thing. An online phone. I've got the Skype thing, but it's bandwidth. I don't know. I don't know whether my computer's not really up to it or whether I'm on cable. I've got cable internet, so it's about as best as I can, good as I'm going to get it. So when I'm sitting here, are you there? What's my favorite kind of story? My favorite kind of story. Well, two different kinds. I love comedy. I'll say that much. I love comedy. Comedy is one of the few pleasures in my life that I've enjoyed my entire life because as I've said in the past, I've always been a very sort of I've not very been a very peppy and optimistic person, even when I was a little kid. I sort of took a grim view of things. Uh, Comedy, best stuff in the universe. This is why I got into writing comic strips. I love laughing. I love making people laugh. My second favorite, I don't know what you would call the genre. I don't think there is a name for the genre, uh, strictly speaking. I love stories that are very positive. Um, I'm a strong believer in happy endings. I like stories where justice prevails, where everything goes right for the heroes and for the innocent. Well, you take a look at the stories I've written. Take a look at the stories I've written. Nightmare Night and Nyx, Nyx's Family, The Great Alicorn Hunt. Well, most any of my films. I like stories where good things happen to good people. I'm trying to uh, think of a way to phrase it. If you may have noticed in my stories that when things go wrong for the bad guys, they really really go wrong. I mean, humiliation conga. But when things go well for one of the characters, it's a cornucopia. It's like they open the cornucopia. Just incredible things just happen all over the place to them. This is why many of my fan fictions This was the point of fanfic as crapsack. Actually, um, I was so tired of seeing all these stories where everything went to turds for the characters. I like my happy endings ridiculously happy, I suppose you'd say. I don't think tragedy. I really don't think tragedy benefits people anyway, even in fiction or in folklore or culture. I do not believe tragedy helps anyone. I don't believe it's insightful. I don't believe it's more deep. I don't believe it's more profound. This ain't working. I really resent the notion. I really resent the notion that tragedy is more artistic in some way. As I've noted before, we have enough tragedy in this world already. Why do we need to make up more? Why do we need to dwell on it? Why does that make us better human beings? Where does that make us better human beings? I think that's kind of the reason that these goth kids sort of torque me off. Wallowing in misery. I mean, life is hard enough without you wallowing in one thing you're trying to get out of. I worship a God who promised that one day he would wipe all tears away. Sitting around savoring them seems contrary to my design. And contrary to my purpose and contrary to his design. When I angst about things, it's because they trouble me. I do not want to be like this, believe me. It's more meaningful. Being sad and depressed isn't more meaningful or insightful uh, or any of that. It just sucks. And savoring it like a lollipop just brings everybody else around you down with you. I read a column once says on cracked.com of all places. The writer was snarking about people who thought that being cynical was the same as being sophisticated. He pointed out, "Congratulations, you're a cynic. So is every other 14-year-old on the planet." He just pointed out, did you reach an age? Everybody reaches an age where they figure out where they learn there is no Santa Claus. There is no Santa Claus. There is no Tooth Fairy. There is no Easter Bunny. And all the shiny things you believed in when you were a little kid, most of them go poof. And that's going to be hard on anybody. I mean, think about it. Think about if you right now, if you woke up one morning and found out that many of the half the things that you believed in or that made the world a better place to you just were gone. It's easier to understand why teenagers tend to be angsty and mopey. But most people grow out of that phase. They realize they reach, they get, they hit their teen years and they go through that uh, you know through that angsty mopey and that cynical age, and then they discover, hey, there's some good stuff out here in adult land too. And maybe some of the old things we lost weren't, we've got some better stuff here. It's a roller coaster ride. There are ups, there are downs. But dwelling on the tragic all the time, dwelling on the negatives all the time, refusing to believe in anything because you're just too damn clever, to be taken in ever again. That's not being sophisticated. That's being stuck in the middle of your teenage years. That's why I love comedies. That's why I love to read stories where the bad guys get theirs and the good guys are rewarded ridiculously. I mean, I love reading stories about like a kid who wins the lotto, or just optimistic stories. It's hard to put in phrases. I mean, well, again, look at the stories. All right, the you know sometimes I often suspect that it's something of a writing flaw with me. The villains get these horrendous humiliation congas, and the heroes and the protagonists, they get these incredible Monty Hall victories. All sorts of things go ridiculously right for them, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, it's what we need. Okay, it is 5 o'clock in the morning. It's been about 3 hours. Not a very long show, but I'm starting to sputter out on the last of my gas here. I'll be doing another show later in this afternoon, probably about. Well, I said earlier I'd be doing one at noon, but not likely. I'm probably going to be asleep right about then. So I will see you later in this afternoon, probably about 6 or 7. I'll Twitter and Facebook when I do. Oh, and coincidentally, I may have used some naughty words in the broadcast today. I do apologize for that. I've gotten into a rather bad habit of that. I don't get out very much, so I don't. This is the most talking I do. And this is me talking to a monitor. Okay, let's see if I can. Uh, for some reason, my Kodak Minicam isn't registering anymore. Probably broke too. I'm batting 1,000. Hopefully, hopefully I'll be able to raise enough money to keep from being uh, having the plug yanked on me. Only got 2 or 3 days left. If they disconnect, it's gonna. If they disconnect me, that's it. I have no way to make money without my electricity or my internet. I'll be toast. Okay, this page is coming along nicely. Daniel Meyer, if you're listening, I do apologize for how long it's taken. We'll try and get this to you as quickly as possible. Oh, so I will see you in a few hours. Y'all take care of yourselves. Good night.